Mr. Louis Chua.
Chairman, permission to take 3 cuts together.
Yes, please.
The first cut. Chairman, with our limited land area, Singapore's planning paradigm has been one of maximizing the intensity of land use. COVID-19's economic impact may mean a need to reevaluate our planning policy. The Minister for National Development has likewise noted the same in an earlier statement that while it remains to be seen if the shifts seen in COVID-19 will persist in the new normal, as technology changes and advances, there is a need to take a good hard look at land use needs for the future. Now, for example, the circuit breaker period has also shown the viability of working from home, which reduces the need for traditional single-use commercial buildings and areas. Land use is governed largely by the URA Concept Plan and Master Plan, the latter of which is reviewed every 5 years. However, beyond absolute land use designations and fixed plot ratios, such planning can arguably have more flexibility, considering the blurring of lines between different building use types, the prevalence of mixed-use developments, and higher frequency of building repurposing. I recognize that the CBD incentive scheme and the strategic development incentive schemes were introduced with the aim of encouraging the rejuvenation of the CBD and other strategic areas in Singapore. The schemes were implemented from 27th March 2019 for a period of 5 years from the date of Gazette for Master Plan 2019. 2 years after they were introduced, how many developments have fulfilled the conditions of these schemes? Is the government re-evaluating the conditions of the scheme to adapt to the post-COVID-19 landscape today? And would the government consider extending the rejuvenation schemes across the island to recognize and encourage greater creativity and flexibility in maximizing the best use of our land and buildings? Second cut. Chairman, divorce proceedings are unfortunately more common than we would like them to be in Singapore, and the ownership of HDB flats are likely to come up as an issue in many of them. Individuals from the marriage without children are only allowed to retain the flat if they meet eligibility conditions such as being a Singaporean citizen, are at least 35 years old, and other prevailing conditions for retention of the flat under the Single Singapore Citizen Scheme. I recognize that for those with care and control of their children, they will be able to retain the flat subject to financial capabilities and other eligibility conditions. Chairman, while I am aware that our housing policies are pro-family and current HDB rules allow for some residents in the middle of a divorce to retain their HDB flat, others have not been able to do so. Individuals who are going through divorce proceedings are already going through a stressful period, and mandating a sale of the flat adds on to the stress. Individuals who are forced to sell off the flat may not be able to readily relocate and it may not be the most financially prudent option, adding on to the pressures. Further, some of them do have the wherewithal to continue servicing the housing loan by themselves. While the HDB may be concerned about abuse, I believe couples do not enter a marriage with divorce in mind. With divorces already a source of significant stress, is there room to allow divorcees under 35 to retain their HDB flat subject to meeting some prevailing eligibility conditions? Third cut. Chairman, the Parenthood Provisional Housing Scheme (PPHS) currently enables couples or single-parent families to rent from the government while waiting for the completion of their BTO HDB flat. However, demand often outstrips supply. Chairman, when I last checked on 24 February, PPHS applications have exceeded the number of flats available by 13.5 times. I believe this oversubscription is not unique to February alone, with the PPHS for March 2 times oversubscribed despite being just 2 days into the month. With COVID-19 delays in HDB flat construction, there will inevitably be higher demands for HDB rental flats from families affected by the delays. Beyond the PPHS, public rental scheme flats for the low income are also narrowly supplied, with demand outstripping supply despite a $1,500 household income per month cap for applicants. Tightening controls for rental applications may lower the number of applicants, but not the real demand for the rental market. There is a clear need for expanding the supply of rental public homes for those in need as well. On the broader landscape of change, How is MND rating itself for a growing millennial preference to rent rather than own a house? We have already seen the sharing economy take root in various areas of everyday life, such as in transport, for example. This preference likely stems from both concerns on the affordability of home ownership and a preference for work mobility and flexibility. Is the MND considering expanding the supply of rental housing by the HDB to meet this growing demographic trend?